Hello everyone and welcome back to the next build repair video, I suppose it is. So my cylinder head went back to my engine builder and he can't turn it around quick enough for the Silverstone Festival that's in a week and a half. So I was in panic stations over what to do about it, and the legend that is Andy Honey at Peninsula Motorsport, I'll put a link in my description. He had a spare engine just sat there not being used, and he's taken the head off and sent it up to me. So absolute legend. So this is the replacement head. So it's a big valve head. It's been used, it's not something that's been freshly rebuilt, but it will certainly do for basically, hopefully 40 minutes of racing. The exhaust side of it isn't ported out as much as on my old head. The valves are set in slightly more. Inlet's quite nicely done, but it was off, I think, a 1300 whole bay engine, so breathing wise it's not quite as much that it needs. Now I'm hoping really, because my regs choke me back on the carbs, the flow rate of my old race head was probably a bit over the top for porting and that sort of thing. So I'm hoping it won't make too much difference power wise. I'm going to try and get it on a rolling road. First, I've got to see if it works. So just about to build it all up. I've cleaned all the surfaces off, and we'll get the head back on now. Okay, so I've just very loosely put the head nuts on now. So what I'll do is I'll start torquing it down to the correct thing, just in stages though. There's a set way with crossflows. You generally work inside towards the out, essentially, so dotting across each side. And that's the right way of doing it. And don't torque it to max straight away, do it in stages, because it's always better. It's a Cometic head gasket, so it's like a 60 thou thickness on this to get the right compression. So yeah, slowly torque it down and then get the rocker cover on. Right, head's torqued down. I've put the tappets in, put the rocker sort of bar back on, rocker shaft, so that's all torqued down. So now I just need to adjust the tappets to suit the new head. And then I'm gonna do a compression test and see what happens. Right, okay, I've done all the tappets now. So the clearances are different dependent on the cam that you're using. So always check the cam details more than just jumping into a Haynes manual. Mine is like 22, 24. So there's quick ways of doing it. There's like a rule of 9, they call it, on the top here. So basically, if say number 1 is fully open, then you can adjust number 8 because that equals 9. So that'll be loose, and so then your next one that would open fully would be number 6. So 2, 4, 5, 6. So when that's fully down, again, to make 9, that's valve number 3, and so then you can adjust number 3. And so that's a really quick way of doing it, instead of waiting for that and then doing this one next, this one. So that's the quickest way of doing it. Now that's all back together, it seems to be working okay. So I'm going to put the rocker cover on it, and before I put any of the carbs or exhaust manifolds on, I'm actually just going to do a compression test straight away, and I'll get an idea on what this head is like to my engine, because I think the compression ratio is probably going to be different depending on how it's been skimmed. So I'll put the cover back on so I don't get oil everywhere, and oil it up a little bit and then see how it goes. Okay, just ran a quick compression test on it. It's low, but every time I test it, it's getting better, and my battery is nearly flat. So actually at this moment You can see that it's on 16 amps charging, so yeah, battery's a bit flat from pumping a load of fuel out and that sort of thing and doing compression tests all the time. So I'm getting at the moment now, I'm coming up to sort of like 130, 140 psi. My head was like over 200, which is really high compression. Might be why I'm cracking heads. But what I'll do is, it's the same across all the cylinders, so that's what I'm really looking for, which is good news. So I'm going to put all the exhaust and inlet manifold on, things like that, let that set overnight, and I will fire it up tomorrow and see what happens. So yeah, looks alright. Okay, day number 2. I've put it all back together now. So the engine is now complete. I've done all the checks I can, so now basically I've stuck a little bit of fuel in. I'm just going to run it up, basically try and run it up to temperature, see if it starts, and then figure out from there what to do. There was actually a bit of an exhaust leak I actually noticed in the end, because the manifold was cracked, a lovely manifold. So sort of, you won't even see really, but it was sort of down in here. This one was actually cracked sort of, well, more than halfway round, which losing a hell of a lot through there. So bonus that I picked that up. So now I'm just going to start it up and well, hopefully start it up and see how it goes. Seems to be working. So I'm just going to let this run up to temperature now, check it all over, check for any leaks, then I'll take the head off, or well, the rocker cover off, retorque all the head, things like that. But at the moment, seems like we're on to a winner. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, you might be able to see from there, the car is actually getting a wash, which means it's good. Couldn't get it on a rolling road in the time that I had, so did a 15-minute sort of country spirited drive, and it seems to be working. It sounds all right, pulling all right, no pops or bangs. So I've actually just gone and washed it, so we are ready for Silverstone, which is good news. So yeah, just washing it down. New sort of livery on there, which I'll explain another time. But yeah, all good to go. So yeah, again, Andy Honey at Peninsula Motorsport, legend for lending me the cylinder head, and it seems to be working great, so I'll big thanks to him. And so I'll see you at the Classic, which is now known as the Silverstone Festival, so see you there.